Hey everybody, this is Mack Slaughter
And Spencer Taylor.
with Trust Technology Consultants coming to you from Dallas, Texas, where we just finished a whole day at the Teleris AI and Technology Summit.
Long day.
It was a very long day. It was their kind of first event of 2025. Here we are at the end of February, and it was a lot. It was a jam-packed day.
And we found out, well, I found out today, maybe not been news to you, that second to Partner Summit, which is in August every year, I guess they do one of these in different regions.
Yes.
So this series is their second most visited event.
Yes.
So it was like a miniature version of Partner Summit.
It was. It started with kind of a keynote, and then it moved into the supplier trade show, where
I got a little bag of swag in there I always get for the kids
Yeah.
and whatnot, pins and cups and
knickknacks.
yeah, a bunch of little stuff.
And after that, we had a lunch and a discussion panel with a few suppliers, and then we did some speed dating.
Yeah, not dating, but
supplier speed dating. So we got to sit at one table, and then 14 suppliers came through.
it was
They
50.
had about, it was 15? Okay, so 15. And they had about 8 minutes to talk to us with about a minute to change
I
tables.
took some notes here. I got them all written down. We saw Claro, Telarus, Hard Voice, Ariaka, 1111, Tonnage, Spectrum, Rapid Scale, Lumen, Granite, Glia, Genesis, Expedient, Crown Castle, Cox Business. And a couple of those have a couple divisions within that company.
Different departments that do specific things. And then after that, there was a couple of more speakers with various topics, and then we wrapped up.
Happy hour session.
Yep. And then went to dinner with a couple of suppliers, and now we're back in the room.
Thank you to those suppliers as well. That was
absolutely. Thank you to all the suppliers who sponsored the event and all the festivities. And we had some really good chats. Took some good interviews on the showroom floor too.
Yeah, the trade show floor, I said you got swag and things like that, but that's, for the supplier, that's really a chance to get to talk to agents like us. And so we did use that time to talk to something. I recorded a few videos with a few people that y'all probably see at some point in the future. It's just a good opportunity to find out what some of these suppliers do and ask them about specific situations that you think your customers may have that they can help with. So by the time we got to the speed dating section, some of them are, we've already talked to y'all.
Well, and there's some suppliers that we have pretty good standing relationships with, like Broad Voice and Lumen, Cox Business. So we've already heard their spiels and know some of them personally. They didn't have to pitch us a lot. But what was the general theme?
AI was the big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's AI technology, but it was how can AI help you utilize the technology? And I think that's a question everyone always asks, and that came up today is, yeah, sure, everyone knows what AI is, and I know I'm supposed to be using it, but how can I use AI? That was like the big question, and I mean, there's a number of ways it can be used.
Yeah. What is it? Why should I care? Why should my customers care? Because that's what it is. I mean, it's just a room full of agents like us.
We heard a bunch of case studies on, not personal, but business wins where they were able to help a customer out of a situation. I mean, I learned a lot about the way that AI can be implemented.
Absolutely.
And as they're talking about this stuff, I'm in my mind thinking about, well, this customer, that'd be good for them. That'd be good for them. We can talk to them about this. And so, yeah. Now, a couple of things, hot points I wrote down was, they talked about all companies need to have an AI roadmap and a strategy, because just like everything else, this is about to be a part of your lives.
It is.
Like it or not.
If it's not already, there's a lot of instances where you may be utilizing some type of AI-like features and not even realize.
I was trying to see a couple of the notes I wrote here. That's something I wrote in the beginning. Yeah, so AI, everyone thinks, the easiest thing a lot of people think of now, especially kids these days, is Chat GPT. Things like, if we use Copilot a little bit, you use Genesis, which is
Gemini.
Which is the Google product. And that is AI, but it does so much more than that. So one of the questions they said was, it said it's like going on a diet. And that's what I mean. We've got a whole diagram of list of things that AI can help you with and how to implement. And they were like, it's the same thing as a diet. I can give you a list of everything you've got to do to maintain that diet, but can you do it?
Right.
And so that's the whole point. That's what we're here for, is to try to help find that provider, that supplier that will help implement these things for you, for whatever your company's needs are. Help you identify those needs, because a lot of companies have needs that they don't even realize they have, and things that AI can simplify and streamline and make easier.
Yeah, some of the tools we're kind of coming away with are roadmaps for how to implement AI, governance policies, fair use policies, things like that. But in addition, it's things you may not think of, like your internet circuit. AI takes a lot of horsepower. And some of the scenarios they talked about were when, what was the story they told about a Roomba?
Yeah, they said a Roomba
In a hotel
lost.
lobby.
Yeah, it was like a series of them.
Yeah.
They cleaned up the hotel, and the Wi-Fi went down in the hotel. So the Roombas went for so long without internet connectivity, they lost their map of where they're supposed to go.
They went rogue.
So they just kind of went, and eventually the door was open. Doors open and close right out the door, and they all ended up out the door, and they had to go find them.
In
they
the
ended up
parking
being in a
lot.
parking lot.
So there's silly things like that that may not be thought about when implementing some type of AI strategy or AI technology, and that just made us laugh. But it's a real
and the
thing.
other scary thing was they talked about what people don't think about, as I talked about ChatGPT and all this. People in your companies are using this on their computers.
Yes.
And right now, there's most companies don't have security for it. So you have a employee that wants to figure out a way to do X, Y, and Z with this spreadsheet. Make this easier. Show me how to do this on this spreadsheet. So what they do is they'll take that spreadsheet and upload it right into the ChatGPT or whatever they're using. That's got all your company's private information, or your customers' private information.
Yeah.
And so that ChatGPT is open source. Everybody in the world can see that. Now that is LLM, right?
Large language model.
That's what these actually are, is LLMs. That LLM is now using that data to help train anyone else. That's how this works. Every time you ask it a question, every time it's looking through the internet, it's looking at things that people upload, and all that's gathered, and it uses that to come up with these answers. So you got to have some security on this as well, and make sure that your security policies cover this.
Yeah, there are ways. I'll name drop one of the suppliers that was here that talked about it. Expedient.
That's one caught our eye.
Yeah, what they can do is you can utilize ChatGPT, you can utilize Copilot, you can utilize even Gemini, but in a ecosystem that is dedicated for your organization. So it's the same model, it's the same horsepower, but it's individualized for your instance.
And it uses your existing policies in your
Active Directory.
Yeah, in your Active Directory. It uses your existing policies. So if these people already have access to this and that, you don't have to recreate all these user groups. It uses what you've already got, and you just assign permissions based on that for AI.
Yeah.
Which AI model you want it to use, what all they can look up. You can make it to where certain people can't upload documents.
Some of the interesting use cases we heard about, one of them was for a healthcare organization where they already had implemented contact center as a service. They already had unified communications as a service. So they already had hosted phones, hosted contact center. But the problem they were having was when at certain times of the day, typically in the mornings and lunchtime, they would receive a large amount of calls. It was large enough to cause an issue, but it wasn't big enough to justify hiring extra people. And what they implemented was a voice tool that was able to answer the call, understand who the patient was, correlate that to the patient database to find out when appointment times are, anything like that. And it could even go as far as rescheduling it by looking at the same database. It was able to solve a business case for the customer. It helped their patients, and everything was already there. It wasn't a huge uplift.
And a lot of these AI bots, as I'll call them now, the language has gotten very good. And sometimes, they're answering you. So, they ask you a question, you say what your answer is, and it'll speak back. So you sometimes may not even realize you're talking to an AI bot.
Absolutely.
So like I said, it's coming. It's coming. Like I said, if it's not already there, there's a lot of things already using it. There's things, I mean, I didn't realize they were talking about companies that implemented AI stuff back in 2019.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
They didn't always work that well back then, but
It's just getting better and better.
yep, better and better. And it's like I said, it's coming. So we just want to try to help people get ahead of it, figure out how, not just to have it, just to say I got AI. No, there's use cases for it where this could help your company save money, become more efficient. And that's what we want to do, is help companies with that.
Absolutely. Real quick, do you have those stats on how many customers are adopting it and businesses that are projecting to and things like that?
Is that this? I got all these sheets I looked up. That's not even the top. There's some more at the top.
Yeah, there were a couple of ones that I was thinking of. They shared a few tech trends for data in 2024 projected into 2025. Gartner says that the security spending will be $212 billion, which is a 15% increase. And that's just cybersecurity. That doesn't necessarily mean just AI, but that's all cybersecurity. However, AI adoption in companies is estimated to be $757 billion. And that's by Deloitte. They're also estimating 85 million jobs to be displaced by AI. I think we heard some examples of manufacturing organizations that had large staff. They were able to dwindle down to skeleton crew.
He talked about a warehouse. They were able to implement some kind of AI. Well, cameras had AI in them, and the cameras would scan all the different packages in the warehouse and identify this and that, and it made it to where they didn't need as many employees to do stuff. And those things would work throughout the night. They identified and marked, and then they have, because even a couple of our customers now have the different systems in the warehouses where to go grab packages, and a lot of it's all robots.
Yeah, there are some things like that in use today, and this just furthers that trend. So it's an interesting world. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's a scary world, but it's like if you're driving down the highway and it's foggy outside and you don't have your lights on, then you have no idea what's ahead of you. We're just suggesting to turn on the lights, maybe turn on the fog lights, and know what's ahead of you. Have your seatbelt on if something were to happen.
And slow down and figure out what's there. And that's what we're trying to help figure out what's there. Do a little research. It costs nothing to get information.
Absolutely. And that's a great segue, because some of the suppliers that were here today, not this weekend, but today, they offer up free analysis to make sure you even have data worth implementing an AI strategy into, because you can only get good output with good input. And sometimes you may not have the data. This one's almost getting worn out, but I've heard a story where it was a shrimp boat, Bubba from Forrest Gump. He decided to get some AI, but ultimately it was a shrimp boat company, and their database for harvest and collection and size and all that stuff, they were in 3-ring binders. But the data was good. And so they ultimately just had to transpose that data from the 3-ring binders into a digital format. And so they were able to implement something that helped them predict when maintenance was needed, integrate with weather analysis to know when to harvest. I know it sounds funny, but even they were able to work with something like that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're going to keep coming to events like this. I mean, it's literally like drinking from a fire hose.
It's a very long day.
It's a lot of information thrown at you. I will say the Telarus team, they took some feedback from us on different partners on how they can make it better each time, and they keep getting better.
Yeah, and they only started these AI-centric ones about a year ago.
Yeah.
And I think they did, 4 or 5 last year. So we're excited. We've got a couple of more events we're already signed up for this year. We'll both be at Channel Partners in Vegas in less than a month. Can't believe it's almost less than a month.
And that, no doubt, is going to have probably 50% of the stuff we hear about is going to be AI based.
That is definitely going to be the buzzword of the year. It already
was last year.
It was last year. It's going to be even more so this year. But we're going to be bringing you great content from that as well. Super excited to see a lot more vendors, not just focused on this specific topic, but a lot of others. And, go catch a Cirque du Soleil show while we're out there too.
Something. I've never been. So we'll see how this is going to be.
Yeah, this will be, I just figured it out. This will be my 10th year since going my first time.
Oh,
First time I went
thought
was
you were going to say 10th time to Vegas.
No, this will only be
So
third.
you may have a gambling problem, man.
I do not have a gambling problem.
Yeah, we don't have to go far to gamble.
I didn't even gamble last year. Yeah, no real interest.
I got you.
I'm there to learn.
You need to learn every day.
Absolutely. But we appreciate you watching. This was a little bit more off the cuff after a long day of education.
Yeah, we were going to do this about 5 hours ago. But from that event to the next event, we thought we had about an hour. We had like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And so we decided to do it now once we're back at the room.
Collected our thoughts a little bit more, but we appreciate y'all watching. If you have any more questions, absolutely reach out to us. We'd love to field any questions you may have. But
Absolutely.
thank y'all for watching.